what's going on, guys? I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. This is my Husqvarna 701. I absolutely love this motorcycle, but it's just too quiet. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like anything too obnoxious. I don't want to close any trails down or anything, but I do like to be able to hear the bike when I'm running at speed. And as somebody that's been hit by a motorist, I know that it is far better to annoy them than it is to be ignored by them. And when it comes to motorcycles, I think there definitely is some truth behind the loud pipes save lives thing. So today, I'm going to try to stick this universal pipe on the 701, and we'll see what it sounds like. So big thanks to Kemimoto for sending this over to me to try out. Let's see what we got in the box. So we've got the clamp and the little rubber grommet gasket deal that goes on the inside of that. Fastener and washers to hold that in place. Then we've got springs, as well as two little weld-on hooks. We've also got some longer springs if we need those. Finally, the pipe itself. This is actually quite a bit smaller than I had anticipated. I ran a similar pipe to this on the Tenere 700, and that definitely had a little bit more girth to it, so it'll be interesting to see what this sounds like. We've got this extra little pipe inside of here that necks this 2-inch pipe down to like a 1.5, I think. So if we look down in here, you can see the baffle at the opposite end, and then you can see the perforated metal double wall on the inside there. This is just going to be kind of a straight through glass pack design. The baffle is obviously in there to quiet things down. As far as the exterior of this goes, I don't know if they actually claim that this is carbon fiber, but it is definitely not. It's just metal with a carbon fiber print over the top of it. So right about now is when the title of the video will start to make sense. I'll have links for all of this stuff down in the description. If you use those links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps me continue making videos like this for you guys. So to make this pipe work, what we're gonna need is a spark arrestor. So this is a universal spark arrestor that I picked up a while ago and actually trimmed down a little bit to fit inside of the pipe that I had on the Tenere 700. So this will just slide down in there now. If you guys don't wanna mess around with changing the diameter of the universal one, I'll have a link for one on Camel ADV's website that will drop right into here. It is actually a little bit larger diameter, so technically a little bit better airflow. But if you guys are unfamiliar with what a spark arrestor does, essentially what this is meant to do and what is required to do is stop any hot embers coming out of the tailpipe of the motorcycle. Any internal combustion engine has the possibility to send hot carbon embers out the exhaust pipe, and on a bike where you only have literally a couple feet of exhaust, there is a much greater chance of sending an ember out the tailpipe. And obviously, if you're riding in a dry area with lots of dead foliage on the ground, it can be very easy to get a forest fire started, which obviously we don't want to do. So make sure you run one of these in your off-road bikes at all times. It's also the law. So like I showed, this is sort of just going to drop down in here, but then it stops right there because the pipe sort of necks down a bit. So that will not go in any farther, but of course we don't want it to come that way, which will be fixed as soon as we stick this pipe in here. So the inside diameter of this and the outside diameter of the section that is slipped inside of here is about 2 inches. Inside diameter of the inlet of here is also 2 inches. I was really hoping that I could find a stainless connector that would work for this, but I ended up having to just settle for a regular old car exhaust one. So this has a 2-inch outside diameter that will fit inside of here, and then this section has to be the proper size to fit this special Husqvarna / KTM graphite seal. What this will do is essentially mimic the way that the stock pipe is fastened to the header, and I'm just going to use this clamp right here to clamp that down onto that exhaust header, and that'll just sort of mash this all together and seal it up. If you guys are interested in that part number, there it is. I'll have a link to the spot on Rocky Mountain site where I found it. Basically, just got to look up the bike and then find this stock part. I also picked this up while I was at the auto parts store. You could use some high temp RTV as well. Basically what I'm going to do is just kind of squirt some of this into the connection point here, and that'll just sort of help seal things up. And then to keep that all squished together, I'm going to use the longer springs here, and I will hopefully be able to extend that so I can hook it right to my clamp here. Definitely not necessarily the right way to do it, but the whole goal here was to put together something that anybody could do themselves, and they wouldn't need a welder or any other specialty tools that I've got at my disposal. And really nobody's ever gonna see it anyways, because it's all gonna be hidden behind the fairings and the metal guard here. So unless somebody is peeking around down on the back side of your bike here, nobody's gonna notice. So let's get this stock pipe pulled off of here, and we'll see if I can get this to work. And this will just slide down there. Got these two pieces here that kind of stick up inside of some catches inside of the fairing. Love these T-handles. Do not love trying to get them back in the holster though. So right here is our factory clamp. Get that good and loose. And just kind of work that down a ways. That is completely free of the stock pipe then. And with that shroud removed and the fastener down here removed, we've got a little bit of flex in the fairing here so we can get in and get that last fastener removed. If you guys don't already have one of these short little stubby socket wrenches, I would highly recommend taking a look at this one. You can put your 1/4-inch socket on this side, and then you can stick little bits down into that side. So if you've got, say, a Phillips head on the bottom side of a carburetor, you can just stick it in here. It's a real low profile. You can stick it in underneath the carb, hopefully, and snug it up. Really, really has been coming in handy for me. So I'm holding the pipe up, pulling the fastener out. I'm just gonna gently wiggle it as I pull back. There we are. So inside here you can see there is the stock graphite ring. You might be able to pull this out in one piece, but it is fairly delicate, so that's why I just picked up a new one. And then if I ever want to stick this pipe back on, I've got one in here and I don't have to move it. This thing is ridiculously heavy compared to that other one. Let's take this in and weigh these. Wow. Hey, 2.4. So yeah, just a, what, 75% reduction in weight? I think this will be much easier to lug around in the woods, that's for sure. So I'm gonna slide my graphite seal over the end of the pipe on the bike here. I don't have any sealant in here yet because I'm just gonna check to see if I can get this thing to clamp down without having to cut any slots in the pipe. Yeah, so that should be giving me a pretty good seal, and it's not, so I'm gonna have to put some slits in here. So I used a thin cutoff wheel on my angle grinder to cut 4 slots into here. I made sure not to cut them too deep, so when I slide this over the graphite seal in there, it's gonna be completely encased, and that seal will go past where that slot is here. So now when I clamp this all down, there should be some wiggle room in here for this to all kind of smash together, and that graphite seal should seal it all up. So now I'm just cleaning up all of the mating surfaces here, so there's no oil or grease or dirt or anything in here, and we can make a good clean seal with the JB Weld sealant. So spark arrestor is down in there. There we go. Not the prettiest thing, but not terrible either. No welder required. So I didn't realize until I tried to stick this back on here, but it turns out that when I tried to tighten this first clamp down, it actually just blew the spot welds right off. So I don't think these are really all that great of quality. No huge surprise. I guess I'd probably try to find something a little better if you can. But luckily, it was a 2-pack, so I've got another one to try here. Before I stuck this one on, I actually just stuck the stock clamp on here and just kind of compressed this all together just to make sure that this thing didn't have to do too much extra work. We'll slide that on. That feels much better. We'll snug that up just a little bit. Then we'll get this mounted up at the back so it's all in position. So I'm only gonna be able to grab a couple of the threads on here. So I'm gonna put some blue Loctite on the end. So that's all gonna stay in place once I get it snugged down. Then I'm only gonna use a washer on the outside just for some stability. We'll just use the bracket itself as a washer on the opposite side. This is a little bit of a squeeze to get this in here. There we are. Then I want to make sure that this is positioned in line with my spring hooks. And once it is, and everything looks sealed up here and everything's in the right spot, I'm going to snug it down. I don't want to overdo that, so I think we'll just let that sit. I'll grab my springs and my Tusk spring tool. We'll get these hooked on and see if I can get them stretched over to here. And we'll give that one more crank. And now we just gotta hope that the spot welds stay in place. I'm gonna let this sit overnight, let everything dry up, and we'll fire it up in the morning. So this is what the stock exhaust sounded like. And now the new pipe with the complete baffle. We'll give that a shot. New pipe, completely wide open, no baffle at all. Sounds a bit like thunder. So this is the baffle, and in the end of it, there is this little cap that has this fastener that holds it in place. So I'm gonna pull that out and then we'll stick this part back in. So this will be wide open down the center. So, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of annoying. It sounds okay at lower RPMs and just kind of cruising, and honestly, I mean, sitting still, it sounds pretty good, but I don't know, there's too much, I don't know what the right term for it is, rap, I guess? It actually reminds me of the mini bike that I've got in the garage, if you guys remember that. The exhaust on that thing is literally a bicycle handlebar cut in half, and I don't know, it just reminds me of that. I don't know if it's just the small diameter or what the deal is. I think honestly the best thing to do would be to get a similar pipe, maybe a little bit wider, so it's got a little bit more fiberglass in it to kind of dampen the sound down, but also one that's a little bit longer, and then possibly you could run it just wide open. Maybe on a smaller engine this would sound better, but on here, I don't know, it's just something's not quite right. I'm gonna pull that baffle all the way out and just see if it really is that much louder versus just deeper tone. And that's kind of what I prefer, is a deep tone. I honestly could care less if it's really loud. I mean, as long as I could hear it while I'm doing 70 miles an hour, that's really all I'm looking for. I don't necessarily, like I said in the beginning, I really don't actually like super loud exhaust. Yeah, I don't know. There it definitely sounds better. It's just still not really what I'm looking for. There's just a little bit too much wrap, and there again, I mean, I think that's just because this pipe is kind of small, I guess, in both directions. Maybe if this was matched with a motor that was also a little bit smaller, it'd maybe make a little more sense. Something a little bit bigger, like the pipe that I've got on the KLR 650, the Lex. I think that would probably sound a bit better. You guys that are 701 owners that have messed around with aftermarket pipes, you'll have to let me know if maybe I'm wishing for something that's just not going to happen. I guess maybe that's just how these bikes sound with a louder, more open pipe on them. I think honestly wide open like this is my favorite, just because it gives you that kind of deep thunder rumble, but it's just too darn loud. I think I'd be embarrassed trying to ride this around on the trails, even riding around on the roads. I don't know, by people's houses and stuff. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I'm a little embarrassed. You know what, just for fun, since I've put some more miles on now, I'm gonna stick this back in here and we'll run this 100% locked up. We kind of still get the same weird little bit high-pitched rap, but I don't know, honestly this isn't as bad as I thought it was to begin with. And I guess some of this might be the pipe sort of breaking in a little bit. I don't know, it doesn't sound that bad, I guess. I'm not sure, I can't make up my mind. It's still just not quite what I'm looking for, but hey man, I mean for 50 bucks and a little bit of work, moving some metal around and stuff, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to beat, I think. I mean, if you just want something a little bit louder and you don't mind if it's a little bit brappy, maybe this isn't something bad to look into. I don't know. So I'll leave a link down in the description along with links to some of my other stuff. So if you guys are interested in any of it and you want to help the channel out and you're going to buy it anyways, if you use those links, it will help me continue making more videos like this for you guys, and I do really appreciate that. This stuff does take time, and I am always really thankful when you guys appreciate it enough to make sure you click those links before you make a purchase, just to kind of keep things going for me. So I do really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out, enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And if you're going to experiment with a pipe like this or something else, make sure you let me know down in the comments what you came up with and how you think it sounds. See ya.